You can see me, right? This is my 4th straight day with a video blog, mainly because there's nothing else to do. Yeah, it's me, Fyree. You've probably seen me on many sites, and this is me in person on YouTube. But yeah, so I'm gonna do a little bit about. I'm thinking. Well, just video games, because these are probably what all these are going to be about, at least till I figure out some of the topics to discuss. But I'm thinking I'm going to go into my thoughts on Wii's Virtual Console, and if you read my posts on NintendoRealm.com or my rants on Twitter /FyreeTSG, then you know my thoughts on Virtual Console. Basically, I figure that, well, when I got my Wii back in April of 2007, and I'm sure not the only one who thought this, but when I got it, I thought I would already have been able to download all my favorite games, you know, all the Mario games I remember playing, and all the other games from all the consoles I've owned. Because when they announced Virtual Console was going to have NES and Super Nintendo and N64 and Sega Genesis, and we have those, and we have the other libraries on there. But outside of those 4, the 3 Nintendos and the Genesis, there's, I mean, Sega Master System is fine at Sega. But TurboGrafx 16, that was one of the announced systems when they announced the first 5. That was the 5th one. It's like, okay, Neo Geo, I remember it. I remember TurboGrafx. I barely remember the Master System. I remember seeing those at a flea market 20 years ago or so. But I remember Neo Geo because I remember the arcade machines with the, you know, 2, 3, or 4 games per machine, which is awesome. I love that. Those are some of the better arcade games that I still see occasionally. TurboGrafx, I remember the console. I remember seeing games for it. But then we got Virtual Console Arcade, which in Japan they have like 70 or 80 Virtual Console arcade titles, or arcade games. I mean full-up arcade games available for download, which is awesome. We have like 15 or like 10 or 15, I believe, here, which wouldn't be bad if it was a better selection. If we had the games from Namco that weren't ported to any console but were arcade specific, or if we had so many other great arcade games, not just from the 80s, but from the 90s, like the ones I remember playing, the ones that you think would be on there. They're not. And then we have Commodore 64, which to me was just the flat-out stupidest idea to port to Virtual Console for Wii. First off, it's a pre-NES console. It's basically like an old-school computer. It was, I mean, for crying out loud, we owned one. We still have the box for it in my parents' room. And we have the keyboard for it somewhere. We have the old adapter that you had to like screw into the back of your TV. I mean, that's how ancient that system is. But I don't know why they released that. But that aside, I mean, there's 393 games available for download on Virtual Console. Now, outside of the Nintendos, and the sheer stupidity that there's only 20 Nintendo 64 games available for download when there's, you know, all the other non-Nintendos. I'm not going to bash Sega, and I think the honest reason why TurboGrafx and Neo Geo are on Virtual Console is Nintendo's way of apologizing for kicking TurboGrafx and Neo Geo's asses back in the 80s and 90s by dominating the market, by taking all the focus away, or by just flat out being the best company, you know. Well, especially compared to those. Not to rip those companies themselves, but we don't need those in Virtual Console. Another thing, you know, I figure Virtual Console, it should be the best of the best. It should not be 393 games, and outside of the Nintendos and a majority of the games for Sega, for the Sega systems, there's not a whole lot that a large number of people who play download games from the Virtual Console know. I mean, there's close to 400 games, and I mean, we don't even get games half the damn time anymore. We haven't got, as of this date, we haven't got a Virtual Console game in 3 weeks. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, because typically when we get anything, it's the most random of random games. The last game I actually wanted upon its release was Mega Man X. I got that, yes. Obviously, that was the first game I wanted straight up after it was launched for over two plus years since Super Mario RPG came out. I mean, there's just nothing that appeals to me at all on the Virtual Console, and that shouldn't be the way it is. There should be hundreds of games in there that I want. There should be more than 393 games. Japan has like 700 games on their Virtual Console. Granted, I don't want most of those because they're probably in Japanese and they're probably bizarre or something I never want. I mean, give me something I want. The Virtual Console should be the best of the best. It should be quality over quantity, which it isn't. If you're going to release games that people are... If you're going to release retro games, stick with the series that's sold. Nintendo needs to rethink the strategy when they do the Wii U Virtual Console, which they will. Hopefully they will. They probably will. It's just how the evolution of gaming is. It's all downloads. That's what it's going to be in 5 years. It's just going to be downloads. Rambling. I do that. But Virtual Console should be the best games. It shouldn't just be the randomest of games. I mean, I didn't get the console. I didn't sign up for the Wii Shop Channel download service to wind up never really looking forward to anything because nothing I want comes out. The games that I have downloaded onto my console from the Shop Channel, from Virtual Console, are pretty much all I want. I mean, outside of the games I have, I don't even play most of the games I have because I have cartridges of them for the original consoles. Or I never want to play them. Or I download it and immediately realize I didn't want it. And there's no refund policy, which is a whole nother discussion, which I'll say for part 2 of my Virtual Console rant. I'm trying to keep this thing under 15 minutes, unlike my last couple. But if they're going to release games that people want. Don't just release... I hate dragging it out, and people who know me are probably tired of me ranting about this game, rambling on about this game. But back in March of last year, I believe, when I was looking on Twitter, following, somebody tweeted me that that Monday, because back when games were released on Mondays in the Shop Channel, that Monday's release for Virtual Console was an NES game called Princess Tomato in the Salad Kingdom. I had to do a double take, mainly because I had no idea what the hell that was. As a large majority of Wii owners, probably on the same train of thought. What is Princess Tomato? Okay, so I go online and look it up. Wikipedia. What? And then... This is like 4 hours of blogging if I really wanted to do it. Why? Just why? I look it up. Hudson. Okay, good company. You make Bomberman. You make a bunch of really, really good games. You've made a bunch of really, really good games that are way better than this thing could ever be. And then I'm like, you honestly release that? You're going to release some obscure game that has a small cult following. I don't know how big the cult following is for that game, but if it's more than 10 people, I'm gonna go and I am just going to snap because I don't understand. I can understand why people like it because somebody's parent probably bought it for them for Christmas as a pure what the hell, why not? Let's buy it. Little Timmy wants a game for Christmas. Well, they're sold out of Mario Bros, so I'm gonna get him Princess Tomato. It's got a princess in it. You play as someone who has to rescue the princess. It's like Mario. Yeah, it's about as close as you're gonna get to Mario, kid. I'm sorry. You're gonna get screwed. Sure, people may like it. There's a lot of games out there that I have played other people don't like, and vice versa. There's a lot of games out there that are really obscure. If you're going to release obscure games on Virtual Console, make it something with the characters someone knows. Make it some obscure Mario game, or some obscure Sonic game, or Donkey Kong game, like Donkey Kong Jr. Math. That's really as far as I'm going to go off the beaten track for Virtual Console releases. Princess Tomato's Alchemy. I don't want to spend forever on this. But why? I have a big question why. Because when people look back in 2 or 3 years when the Wii is gone, when the Wii U is the thing, when you're playing Virtual Console games on your Wii U that you download on your Wii, and when somebody asks me in a year or two after the Wii is gone, what will I remember about the Wii's era, about the specifically about the Virtual Console and the Shop channel? It will always be Princess Tomato. Why? Because that's the one game that stands out amongst the rest. There's some really good games on there. 393 games, there's a lot of good games. A lot of people probably enjoy a lot of the games that I would never consider playing because they grew up playing different games. I grew up playing the Marios and the Sonics and the main franchises. I didn't grow up playing Princess Tomato and the Salad Kingdom. I don't even know what that game is. Somebody gifted it to me as purely, shut up about it and play it. So I played it. And I really had no clue why this is for. If you've seen it, if you played it, if you looked online, the Wikipedia or do a Google image search, it's a text-based game. It's something you would have expected to have been ported to the Commodore 64. But no, it was an NES game. And Hudson released it for NES. Nintendo signed off on that. Okay, yeah, but then when they released it for Virtual Console, why? Honestly, you're releasing Princess Tomato and you're not releasing Star Fox, Donkey Kong 64, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. I would rather have Mario's Missing or Mario's Time Machine. Sure, it's an educational game, but for God's sake, at least it's Mario. Give me Hotel Mario from Philips CDI. That would be hideous, but it's a Mario game. If you're going to release something obscure, release something somebody knows. Or some series, some character somebody knows. Who honestly wanted Princess Tomato? If you polled 1 million Wii owners, random Wii owners, who download games on Virtual Console, who look every week to see what's coming out, and who, when they saw this a year and a half ago, how many of them actually downloaded it? Probably a lot. Probably a good number did. Just to say, oh, why not? This is new, let's try this out. How many have enjoyed it? How many actually knew the game before they tried it? I want to know. But I'm not going to get into it. Overall, though, summarizing everything, Virtual Console has been a really great idea, a really great first attempt at downloadable games. I'll get into a WiiWare discussion later. But Virtual Console overall, if I had to rate it, I'm going to include the games I have, the really good games I have, the really good games that are on there that I haven't downloaded yet, but I would consider, or I've played at least. I would give all of those like a 7 out of 10, like a decent score, an average score. I mean, there's some good games, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of really good games on there, a lot of good series, a lot of good companies, etc. But when I take Princess Tomato into account, it's like a 3 out of 10. I mean, that's how much it drops it off. Not just that, but all the just obscure games and the Commodore 64 factor, and some of the older games like Zaxxon, which is a 30-year-old arcade game, because I'm really sure all the kids who play Wii downloaded that immediately. I mean, overall, it gets like a 4 out of 10. I really hate saying that, but it's so disappointing. There's so many good games that we'll never see. We probably won't even hit 400 games before the end of the year in the Virtual Console. But yeah, so Virtual Console, it's a 4 out of 10. There's so much more potential there, but we'll never see it. There's good games, but I mean, what random obscure things are on there completely ruins it for me. So this is my Virtual Console blog. I'm really hoping I get some feedback and people probably bitching at me, but that's my thoughts on Virtual Console. Hope you enjoyed.